The scandal of 250,000 reais in the world's largest Minecraft server? Recently, a new controversy dropped like a real bomb in the lap of the Hypixel Minecraft community. This server, which is based on PvP-style gameplay, received an update that added mystical items to the battles. However, what was meant to be fun brought much controversy and scandals. These mystical objects from the Hypixel pit mode are items that can be enchanted with custom abilities for each player, and besides that they can drop randomly in a rather rare way. Each enchantment has its own specific characteristic, and when combined with another, it can become quite overpowered. Let's mention two examples of these features called Billionary and Lifesteal. The first one is used on swords, dealing double damage to the player who was hit. The second one restores 13% of a player's health, 1.5 hearts, with each successful hit. That means the more the player attacks, the more they recover their health. And so both enchantments are considered extremely rare and obviously some of the best in the game. Trading and negotiating items is also part of the player's routine, which is a very good strategy for gaining prestige within the community and accumulating financial capital. That way many players end up buying great items and enchantments when prices are low just to resell them when they're high. Many players decided to sell their rare market items in the real world, or rather on PayPal. The server administrators and GMs strongly prohibited this kind of transaction, but even so, players always find a way to bypass the system and resell their precious resources through the platform. And so, a kind of underground market was created parallel to Hypixel, and in a very short time the pitch mode became complete anarchy within the server. During the 2 years this game mode was active, the server administrators paid very little attention to it, leaving the way open for hackers, cheaters, and people with bad intentions. To be honest, Hypixel Pit was considered pretty small enough not to cause any kind of concern to the staff team. And even knowing that there are deals involving real money, the administrators decided to sweep the dust under the rug. Items were traded based on real-world economics. When demand for an item is low, its price is low. However, the higher the demand and the scarcer the item, its price immediately skyrockets. This basic rule dictated Hypixel Pit for a long time, as mystical resources are rare and special combinations are even rarer, with only a few units available for thousands of players. So, for example, an enchanted bow that guarantees the player a considerable amount of speed permanently without the need to have a full hunger bar was sold for $750. Due to the Hypixel Pit mode's unfavorable history, many ill-intentioned people migrated to the server and this mode, and so breaking this rule became common. Just like a few months ago, a player named RagePit sent another player a mod containing code that would allow him to access their account, and with the mod installed, Rage was able to steal all the players' items, who had their accounts hacked by him through this mod. As mentioned, these items hold real monetary value and there are numerous examples. However, the most controversial story is the one I will share now. A few months ago, the Hypixel community witnessed an expose authored by Pitfall. Pit disclosed to the forum a scam involving a magical pair of pants valued at no less than $1,500. This scheme was run by a group of players called Huntsmen. Many of them were already known in the community, like Major, Minor, and other names. Due to the nature of mystical items, many players shared them with each other. In addition, in some cases, the groups would gather the items with their player in order to give him a complete set of armor. This way, he'd have the top enchantments, level up Galahang, and bring fame to the Alliance. In this manner, the group made every effort to acquire wealth and increase their earnings. They also monopolized the trading market and used insider information about upcoming updates to gain an edge over other players. Thus, instantly, the members of Huntsmen became close friends, united by bad faith and dishonesty. 1 week post the Hypixel Pit 1.0 update release, members Skunker and Catcan found themselves in trouble. Cat had begged Skunker to lend him some of his valuable items. When he did so, the player was swiftly betrayed and abandoned by his partner, who used the acquired items in battles and kept them for himself, not returning them. So this strategy of borrowing items and then stealing them soon became a habit of the clan within the server. In a short time, a lot of conflict would be generated. Last summer, the YouTuber Pitfall had lent a rare and coveted pair of enchanted pants to a player named Zach, who then lent them to his uncle, who lent them to Cat. However, this last time, Cat kept the item for herself instead of returning it. And this, of course, increasingly monopolized the player and her clan, not to mention the fact that these items generated a lot of money. The players started receiving insider information, and among this information they found out that a certain pair of pants in the game would become more valuable because of its features. And so, the group realized that once the players saw this new development, the price of this item would rise unimaginably. And when the update was finally released, the server's marketplace became unsustainable since only a few players managed to get access to the valuable enchanted pants. And because of the high value of these pants, several players asked to borrow the item, but of course those who had them refused the request. But since everyone already has a history on the server, they play together and all that, this caused a lot of disagreements and a lot of demands too, creating more and more intrigue, and all these petty quarrels that in the end are worth a lot of money bring us to the present day, or rather, to what happened a few days ago. At this stage, the Huntsmen, consisting of Oliver, Fish, Major, Minor, and Zack, were an extremely unstable group. Their main strategy was sharing accounts and items with each other in order to level up their characters. And now, the group's next plan had not only a form and a tactic, but also a name and an identity, Jessica. For some reason, the Huntsmen were obsessed with their respective rankings on Hypixel, so much so that Oliver, one of the most respected members, had 2 accounts at the same time with high prestige and maximum level. Of all the top positions in this ranking, a quarter of them belonged to the members of Huntsmen. And something we need to understand about this leaderboard is that the position a player is in depends entirely on the Minecraft login identification they have. This happens because there are at least 33 players with technically tied scores, meaning any of them could be in first place. However, this was the only way the Hypixel administrators found to break the tie in an impartial way and without getting involved in the players' internal disputes. Thus, a player's position at the top of the ranking depends entirely on a series of random numbers which only Mojang has access to and control over. The problem is that out of the 33 best players, only 10 will be seen at the top. Knowing this, the members of Huntsmen decided to adopt Jessica because she had something that no other player had, an identification that allowed her to be first in the ranking if she reached the top of the minigame. And so, the main members of the clan embraced the Jessica project and helped her reach higher levels, forming partnerships and sharing items. And so, the warriors decided to provide the new recruit with a full set of armor with the best enchantments on the server. That way, in a matter of days, the account would already be gaining astronomical levels. However, something that would change the fate of all these people was about to happen. That's because a player named Razzie appeared and shook the Hypixel server. We have to say that this guy is a unique phenomenon since he's only 19 years old and has a fortune that could give us retirement for the rest of our lives. Alright, I exaggerated. He's just an heir to a very wealthy family, but anyway, according to some information, at the time Razzie started getting noticed on the server, he had just bought no less than 17 bitcoins, which were added to the other 5 he already owned. The guy independently made the largest purchase offer in Hypixel server history. The player said he was offering no less than $50,000 to anyone who could provide a complete set of armor. It was the armor with the best enchantments, not just any armor. And this offer from Razzie worked like a kind of time bomb inside the Peach minigame and obviously inside Hypixel, since many players started looking to assemble the best set to offer to the millionaire heir. Meanwhile, the Huntsmen's clan, who had gotten most of their items through cheating and already had access to the best items in the game, started planning what they would do with the fortune they would take from the rich guy. And during a group conversation which was recently leaked, one of the members wrote, "I think we should split the amount equally." One said, 7 grand each would suffice. That's when the lengthy drama started. Jessica, a new alliance member, proposed each member receive 15% of the total sale value amounting to about $7,200 per person. However, Zack and Oliver agreed it was premature for Jessica to receive any proceeds from a sale. In fact, the members were troubled by the sum the young woman would get. Despite just joining the group, she was set to get the best spot and receive over $7,000. It's absurd. At first, the members agreed with the new division goal, which offered Jessica a mere $2,000. The young woman refused the offer, stating in the leaked conversations, "Razzie proposed this offer to me and I brought it to you. I could have taken the offer and exposed you, but I was generous and informed you instead. Getting a quarter of the amount is unfair considering my actions." Jessica argued that reducing each member's pay by $1,000 wouldn't significantly impact them. The sole woman in the group confronted the others. Now, let's examine the relationships between each member of the alliance to better understand the context. Major and Minor are brothers, so they are obviously quite close. Oliver and Fish, both British, shared a strong bond due to their shared background. Zack and O'Chill were in a similar situation. They all had a sense of brotherhood that could only come from spending a lot of time together, and that was the case with the Huntsmen Alliance. They had been friends for 18 months, with Jessica being the only exception. According to Zack, the girl wasn't a Huntsman. In fact, she was just another e-girl who should be discarded. To be honest, the Hypixel Pit community wasn't very familiar with the girl. In this time, Zack informed certain Alliance members that Jessica's sole purpose was to elevate their name in the rankings, as they would be responsible for her success. And when the others heard about it, people were shocked by the audacity of someone who had never contributed anything to the group to request such a large amount of money. Remember that the girl still hadn't been expelled from the Alliance because she was constantly threatening the members with an exposé containing all the dishonest acts they had committed up to that point. Finally, Zack made a new group chat including everyone but Jessica. Now the friends could express their true thoughts without reservations or rhetoric. Zack said that the amount offered to Jessica was more than enough. Fish, for example, thought that the girl shouldn't get anything. At that moment, the dilemma arises. Exclude her from the money split and be shunned by the whole community, or give up a certain amount to include Jessica and keep a good reputation? The only thing that held them back was the fear of being exposed, because if they were exposed, they could be sued by Hypixel and even Mojang, since this kind of trading inside the game is strictly forbidden. On top of all these concerns, the clan members started to suspect that Cody, the member who was closest to Jessica, might have a thing for her. Once they tried to gather all the participants in a call to talk, but Cody made it clear that he wouldn't let them give up Jessica's share. Shortly after, Major started ignoring messages from all his other friends. This way, people started to believe that Jessica, Cody, and Major were making their own plans and plotting against the Huntsmen. After that, Minor, Major's brother, logged into Hypixel with his backup account and transferred all its items to his main account. He attempted the same with Zack, but Zack was swift and promptly changed his password after discovering what happened to his friend. Nearly all the group's valuable items were now held by Minor, Jessica, Major, and Cold. Sometime later, the young woman along with her loyal sidekick informed the forum that they no longer wanted to have any dealings with that group of such toxic people. And for that reason, they made certain decisions. Betrayal ran rampant. Now, with fewer players, the members could receive 33% of the total value, which is $16,000 or 80,000 rays instead of the previous 15%. With that, tensions escalated further. Major reportedly had a history of misconduct. He had already tricked a player named Jeffrey by asking to borrow his sword to record a video. Interestingly, that sword was worth $800 and was never returned. Also, at another time while he was live, Major asked a friend to attack another player using a cheat, and after making this request, he sent a message to the Hypixel staff reporting his own partner whom he had just given orders 2 seconds earlier. In other words, he was trying at all costs to get his friend banned from the Hypixel server.
I look like Major. First Major.
Another guy killed me. Oh my god, you used the pilot.
Oh my god. Oh my. Was that a watchdog?
What? No, stop.
It was also in your pants.
Bro.
I can't, my god.
And so, with this brief attempt, he managed to permanently banish his friend. And this clip you just watched has everything that makes the Hypixel server one of the most chaotic out there. And so, seeing all this behind the scenes, we can get an idea of how afraid the members of the Huntsmen clan were of being betrayed and losing everything. Several of the scammed Hypixel pit items Jessica listed were already being sold on the market. And at this point you must be wondering, what about that $50,000 offer that was left behind? The truth is, nobody knows for sure because Jessica and Cody couldn't get the complete set that Reyes, the millionaire, requested. However, we do know that they still managed to sell most of the items they stole, making a lot of money through the breaking of the alliance between all the clan members and this series of chaos and betrayals. When a thief steals from another thief, who can they turn to for help? Well, the fact is that Jessica left Mindguard behind and consequently the server because she decided to focus on her college, which she had just started, and besides that, it's not known if she and Cody stayed together. Meanwhile, Oliver, Zack, Othiel, and the other clan members suffered the greatest losses, losing thousands of dollars worth of rare enchanted items, which were also obtained through fraud and theft. In this melancholic and unique way, it was the end of one of the biggest organizations on the Hypixel server, the Huntsmen. Once a gang of petty swindlers who successfully orchestrated cons amounting to thousands, they were now nearly penniless. Remember to subscribe and check out channel 3.0 for daily videos. Hugs and take care.